Thanks, Evie. Next, please. So, yes, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We want to cover a couple of current areas that we're working on. Firstly, we want to discuss the recent results of Welchau, our testing program, and the ongoing technical definition for Welchau. That'll be done by Paolo Pace. He's a long-term consultant to the company. He's had a lot of carbonate experience, mostly in Italy, but other places as well. So we're lucky to have him. And then Paul Fink, who most of you will know, he's our CEO, and he'll run you through the HOCH prospect that we're drilling at the moment and our broader shallow gas play. Before we do that, I'll just take you quickly through some of the corporate highlights and maybe a little bit on European gas right now, in case you haven't been watching. Next, please. Okay, so right now our production's been up a little bit. We're trying to get our production rate up. We're producing around 210 barrels a day. Needless to say, at these prices, we're much more profitable than we were in February, and we're seeing some good cash flow follow through. We recently reassessed our reserves, and we've got about 1.5 million barrels of reserves between our Anshoff field and our Vienna Basin fields. And as you can see from that pie chart, for a company of our size, we've got an enormous prospect inventory, about 210 million barrels of oil equivalent. So really, it's a combination of low risk cash flow, some low risk exploration, and then some very high impact opportunities between Welchau and our Sicily Channel permit. Next, please. So you can have a quick look at our capital structure. Currently, our market cap's hovering around 30 million. Obviously, we recently did a capital raise. That unrestricted cash is around 4.8 million. We've obviously, some of those funds have gone into the drilling of Hochfeld, but then since that time, we've also raised more funds. You'll see that come through in our quarterly next week. So as I mentioned earlier, really we're a kind of a three-horse play, some low-risk stuff that delivers cash flow, some low-risk exploration, but then two very high-impact opportunities that can really change the company. But look, we're not just interested in betting the farm. We really want to have a good crack at building our cash flow up. We also see some behind-pipe opportunities and maybe some infill drilling we can do at our Vienna Basin fields. But also, we've got high hopes for this shallow gas play because if the first couple work, then we've got a lot more to get on with, and they can deliver very meaningful cash flow for the company. Next, please, Ev. So our recent activities have really hovered around production. We've got a workover program going on, which has been to restore some production from some wells. I mean, these are mature wells. Quite often they're susceptible to sanding, and we have to get those pumps back up. But also what's been really important is our ability to permit 3 shallow gas wells in a very short period of time, within 6 months. And now we've spudded the HOCH well, and that's drilling ahead. But we made some really good progress on Welchau. We recognise what we drilled through, which is a light oil accumulation. And we've also recognised we didn't get to our main target. So we see a lot more gas beneath this that can be, if we got to, by deepening the well. So that's something we're working on right now. But obviously those resource numbers look really good and are really very compelling for us moving forward. The Sicily Channel, we're still very much at the desktop stage. We've got some good 2D data, a lot of well data. We've been working through all of that, and we're also working with E&I to purchase new data, and that'll all come together in the next month or two, and then we're preparing for an independent review. So those who are a bit skeptical about how you could find so much gas so close to shore in such shallow water, we'll prove it to you. Next, please. Our planned activities, obviously, we're going to keep going with Hochfeld. We hope if we have a successful discovery, we'll be able to complete the well and test that soon afterwards. By testing the well, will give us a very good understanding of what the potential reserves are, and from that we can then get into the development of that field. At the same time, we're preparing for the Golden Shon well. They're the two other wells that have been permitted for drilling, and we hope to be drilling those around the third quarter of this year. And ideally, we'll do it by drilling back-to-back wells to cut down our mobilisation costs. In Upper Austria, as I mentioned earlier, we're planning for some access to some behind pipe potential that can be quite meaningful. It could increase our production rate there by around 50 barrels a day at quite a low cost. And we also see some good infill opportunities and also some development drilling opportunities that we'll be working up, especially with this sort of oil price environment. If we see that lasting into next year, and the forward curve has moved quite substantially from around $65 a barrel to over $75 a barrel now. So it gives us a good opportunity to go after some things that maybe we wouldn't have gone after last year. And then, of course, we will continue progressing Welchau. We're planning to deepen that well. So we're now working on a drilling plan, and then we'll be moving into the permitting phase for that. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be looking to basically come up with an independent resource review in a very short time frame. Next, please. Okay, just a little bit on gas markets. We all get pretty excited about oil price, but actually the situation for gas is even more exciting than for oil right now. Next year, everyone was predicting a bit of a glut of LNG. That's clearly not going to happen now with the situation in Qatar. I mean, really, when you look at the amount of gas storage in Europe now, it's at record lows, about 30% full. And that's a pretty difficult situation when you consider that still Europe is very highly reliant on Russian gas. Over 20% of their gas comes from either piped gas or LNG gas, and there's now an EU directive to basically cut out of Russian gas by the end of 2027. But also, they're very highly susceptible to LNG, and that's really, if you like, the value determinant for LNG. For domestic gas in Europe, because that makes up about 46% of the supply. And what's actually quite concerning is a lot of that supply now comes out of the US, and that's not an ideal situation from either from an environmental perspective, because a lot of that is frack gas. So Europe would love to see more domestic gas, and that's really one of the key things that we're going after, because about 80% of our portfolio now is gas. All right, I'll now hand over to Paulo.
Thank you, Ian.
Next, please.
Yeah.
For Paulo.
Yeah, thank you, Ian. Let me please provide first a technical overview about Welchau. Welchau has been drilled in the ADX 82 license, and it confirmed the extent of what is a strategically significant hydrocarbon play in the northern Tchacos subs, an area that has been quietly overlooked in the past, and now ADX is trying to revive. Actually, the main initial drilling target was to test gas and condensate potential within the Middle Triassic fracture reservoir sequence that are capped by a Loon's partner formation seal complex above. Then Welchau actually did encounter a hydrocarbon-bearing complex within this fracture reservoir interval for 450 meters of mainly gas shows and recovering light oil from the main reservoir, which is the Middle Triassic Steinern Formation. the same reservoir that tested gas and condensate in the down deep mole gas discovery. The reanalysis of the pressure data gained from the well, along with the historical data from the mole well, indicate an overpressured system that has an evidence of an aquifer connectivity between the two wells, and the structural configuration is aligned with this interpretation. So this points into an interconnected petroleum system which is likely having an active recharge. Next, please. The learnings we gather from the Welchau 1 well that showed some really important structural and stratigraphic insights were now incorporated into a revised model of the Welchau anticline. This has been integrated with the new surface geological data that were collected in the area, resulting in a revised interpretation and structural model. Showing that the well has an potential up-dip culmination that is located farther west, approximately 500 meters up-dip from the current top Steinern that has been drilled in Welchau 1. We assessed the prospective resources of this shallow structure are quite attractive for a P-mean of 18 million barrels. Next, please. The resumption of the testing of the well, particularly for the rifling formation, which is the shallowest of the four fracture carbonate reservoirs that were penetrated by the well, with a key objective to determine the hydrocarbon content and flow characteristics in this formation that differs a little from the Steinern formation, which being more marly. Then an acidization job has been done with injecting 6 cubic meters of acid across the 45 meters perforation, and then gas and light oil were recovered and sampled at surface. The analysis of the recovered light oil from the rifling, along with the previously recorded oil from the Steinern, revealed that these oils are not biodegraded, and this with the overpressured system are really supportive of an up-dip live oil accumulation, which is very good in agreement with the revised structural model. Lately, analysis on the rifling oil revealed that the biomarker signature is very similar to the oil that has been collected from the Steinern formation, and the isotope analysis revealed that they were generated from a common source rock. Next, please.
Next.
Next one, yes. The post-drill reinterpretation then of the available seismic, and particularly updated velocity model that was refined with the new well data from Welchau 1, allowed to interpret a duplex thrust system just below the thrust sheet of the Welchau anticline, which is indicated as duplex array 1. This duplex thrust system was also interpreted in some pre-drill models, but identified as in a deeper positioning as where now locates the duplex array 2. The prospective gas and condensate resources are quite attractive, and they are very nicely structurally aligned up deep of the Morn tested horse, which is located down deep to the main target of the Welchau structure. Currently, there is subsurface work ongoing to further refine the structural model and better delineate these deeper targets. Next one, please. Yeah, that's summing up on Welchau. There is a double opportunity of appraising actually a light oil accumulation in the shallower section by sidetracking the current well to reach the up deep structure culmination. And the deepening of the well, it's providing room to access the duplex arrays, which with the central host being the most attractive and nicely located structurally aligned up deep of the more gas and condensate discovery. That was all about Welchau, and I'm handing the screen over to Paul.
Okay, mille grazie. Thank you very much, Paolo. So moving from this essentially very large, huge discovery, we are now moving to an area where the drilling has already started. If you could go to the next slide, please, then we can show Upper Austria. Yeah, on the western side you have Germany. On the eastern side is the capital of Austria, Vienna, in case you know it. And we're sort of in the middle. It's a quite large area. We are owning around 1,100 square kilometers of the area. We've got lots of prospects, which I'll show you later on. But now the major focus after Welchau, you can see on the bottom right, the next steps are actually 3 wells. They're called Hochfeld, Gold and Schönfeld, which are actually relatively shallow gas wells, most importantly, very low risk wells. Gas production, you can maybe see on the map in light red as well, has been proven, has been very successful in the long past on structures. Now we have done with fantastic 3D seismic, which we purchased from RAK for around 100,000 euros. 100 million euros, very high resolution, and we're drilling 3 wells back to back. There are some very positive indications already, which is quite common in our area, that we get the approvals relatively fast. So in this area, it was in between 3, 4 to 6 months, which is not usually in many other countries. The Hochfeld, the first one, yeah, this is the number 2 after Welchau. Hoch has started on the 16th of April in the evening. So we hope to provide the first drilling results to you, which are quite likely positive, but not 100% chance of success. On this one, we talk about 55 to 60% in about 2 weeks. Yeah. The other prospects, the 2 shallow gas prospects, after the testing of Hoch, we're not going to drill the Schönfeld, but we move to an even higher chance of success, which has been ASX released as well. The Gold prospects, where we have 100%, this has about 80% chance of success. And then we move back to the Schön area, to the Schön prospect, just south of Hochfeld, which is a little bit smaller, but also has an exceptional chance of success, a little bit above 60%. Now, I'll talk about Hochfeld in a second, but again, the reason Hoch and Schön are the first wells after Gold is also because M&D, our joint venture partner who farmed in, has 50%. So maybe we move to the next slide now, maybe. Thank you very much, Evi. Forward, yeah. You like the giant Welchau discovery. So that's a picture on the top right of our first drilling. This picture is now a week old. This is the drilling rig which started. And one of the reasons we drilled this Hoch prospect as the first one, which is still a very good chance of success, but a little bit, only about 55-60%, very wanted by also M&D, our joint venture partner, because we have a huge upside potential. You probably see the figure before, but it goes in between 16 BCF, 14 BCF on the upside. The mean is about 8 BCF. It's a quite large one. It's fully matured, the prospect. We have a high resolution 3D on the AVO. That's a direct indication on the 3D seismic. We have some gas. And it's also very important to mention, very favored by the local companies in the area who want to purchase lots of gas. We have pipelines in the area, and therefore the biogenic gas, which is clean CH4, is a high want in the area. If you look at the gas price, which is significantly higher, as Ian mentioned to you in Europe, we've used for this model 40 euro per megawatt hour. So you can see that our income ratio, the net revenue, that's 100%, is about 50 to 60 million euros. And another important thing is, if you look at the 8 BCF, for example, of the production, within the first 3 years of production, we have produced around 70% of the entire 8 BCF. So that means the income will be very fast as well. You see on the top, on the base on the right, the second well, the Schön, which will come after Gold, which will be the third well then this year, or the second shallow gas well, which is very close also to the pipeline. That's also a very attractive well with a high chance of success, which I'm going to show you now on the next slide. If you could move one slide forward to 16, please. Thank you very much. Yeah. So after that, we will be drilling the down to the south, the Schönfeld prospect. So number 1 is Hoch, number 2 is Gold, not shown here, and number 4 of this year is the Schönfeld prospect. Now, the reason I show you in this presentation on the bottom right some seismic is not because I want to take your time in going on the 3D reprocessing and the high resolution, but the key importance is the following. Despite the fact that they are both pinch-out reservoirs, which was quite unusual, and we had some fantastic XBP geologists working for us in this area as well, coming up with new prospects, the risk is totally different. So this is a very important statement for you. If it's quite unlikely, if Hochfeld is a dry hole, not successful, that has absolutely no negative impact, actually could have a positive impact for the seal here on the next well, on the Schönfeld well. So that means don't see it as a connected chance of success, and they are related to each other. They are different. And that means if we drill 3 wells, which each on average has 60 to 70% chance of success, after 3 wells, at least one comes in, is a very high chance. It's getting above 90%. I just wanted to tell you that. The reason why the slightly higher risk, but it's still very high chance of success, M&D, and we are keen on Hochfeld, is because you can see now the P10 resource size is quite large. It's 17 BCF. And this is one of the reasons we and also our family wants to start with Hoch, not because it's slightly more risky, but because the upside is very large in this area. If you go to the next slide, maybe we can look at the Gold Bone, where we have 100%. On this, I still use 30 euros per megawatt hour gas price, but still the economics are highly positive. Again, all the approvals came in very quickly. The production will be done of, again, approximately 13 BCF. This is the mean within the first 4 years. And again, the net revenue, even if the gas price is significantly lower, almost half than what it is now in Europe, around 50 million euros. The other important thing is about this area, and also on the previous one, we don't have only 3 prospects. We have now 10, and we've been working very hard for the last 2 years with the 3D seismic, with a team of geologists, geophysicists, also somebody with a lot of experience in the area, XBP manager of geology. So we have a large number of leads and prospects. And that means that, for example, also for Gold Bone, if the first one is successful, we have at least 3 follow-up wells, which increasing the resources and, of course, the chance of success that one of them will come in significantly. Again, let's go to the next slide, please. In summary, in terms of our prospectivity, it's not only the shallow gas. So if you look on the map on the left, you can now see also in green color a lot of the oil exploration prospects and leads, like in Anshof, which Ian mentioned. We're producing quite a bit out of this area already, in addition to Zistersdorf, close to Vienna, the Vienna Basin. And despite the fact that the shallow gas on our exploration size, to the left without Welchau, which is a very large area with prospect and discovery as well, as Paulo presented, despite the fact that the shallow gas prospects are only around, on average, that's the mean, 6 to 7 million barrels of oil equivalent, the impact is going to be highly positive with, I think, a very high chance of success of us. And last not least, the gas prospects in red, about 44 million barrels of oil equivalent. This is subflush, where we're going to have been doing for a year now with the 3D PSTM quite a bit of work. So in summary, Welchau was a very successful well on the testing, on the upside potential. Hoch, Gold, and Schön are 3 wells, each with a very high chance of success, in between 60 up to 80% chance of success. And it's outside of our today's presentation on the latest gas prospects and the latest drilling this year is our 5th well, which is going to be on our Anshof production. Here we have got appraisal well opportunities, but also a very large possibility for drilling an oil discovery, which is a significant Pergan prospect, which we're going to present to you in the quarterly report and also afterwards in details. That's it from my side. Thank you very much. I think there's still one slide to show the total summary of our resources, including Italy. And maybe I put over to Ian. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paulo. Thank you, Paul. So now, if we've got any questions, we'd love to answer them for you.
Thank you, team. That was great, very informative. There has been a few questions that have come through. The first one, just with relation to Welchau, you mentioned that the gas reservoir communicates with those encountered in the Moln-1 well. However, the testing flow rates at Moln-1 obviously were much better compared to Welchau-1. How does this align?
Paulo, would you mind answering that question?
Do you want me to go back on the slide?
Yeah, please.
Slide 9, maybe.
Just let me know when to stop.
Actually, the next one would be.
This one is fine.
This one?
Because there are different reasons. First, there are 2 different hydrocarbon systems that we identified: a light oil system related to Welchau.
Maybe the next slide would be better, maybe.
Yeah.
So we can see next.
Next one?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah, you can see it there.
Yeah, the Welchau shallow and the deeper gas condensate system of the duplex structures, which are similar to the compartment tested by Moln. The second structural reason is that actually Welchau has been drilled on the flank of the anticline. We are talking about fractured carbonate reservoirs type 1, where actually the permeability and the flow is controlled by the fracture network, and being in the flank, this could be limited to certain areas. So we think that by targeting the crest of the structure, the flow characteristics of the reservoir units might be largely different. Then another thing is that from our current interpretation, Welchau current test zones were at the boundary of the of the oil-water contact. So really at the boundary of the structural prospect.
Yeah, if I could just add to that, obviously, when we intersected 450 meters of hydrocarbons, we thought we had actually hit the gas reservoirs that we were chasing. In fact, we had not. What we actually hit is a shallower oil accumulation that we did not expect. But as Paulo has mentioned, we've hit it right at the, if you like, at what we interpret to be the edge of the accumulation. So what we were chasing up dip from Mollin, we haven't got there yet. So that's what we're hoping to deepen the well, to actually fulfill, I guess, the well's objectives. But original objectives. But what is very positive is that there's very good evidence that we're in pressure communication because of the pressure regime at Welchau compared to Mollin. And that's very diagnostic of having, if you like, a competent structure that is actually containing the deeper gas. Paul, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I think it should be worthwhile mentioning in 1989, when I was a student, I was working in this area, when we drilled for totally much deeper prospects, 6,000, 7,000 meters, and they found by pure chance, they did understand forever why Mollin was such a successful well, much shallower on 3,000 meters on our prospects. And they tested one of the two gas discoveries, the shallower one around, and shallow is 3,200 meters, very successful, very high production rate. And this area didn't have any useful seismic acquisition. We only have one very good, relatively good in this area, 2D seismic line. So we came up with a totally different and new model, which was to a large extent proven. The new data we have got from Welchau, the high pressure rate also in Welchau, which Ian mentioned, which is really proving the oil and gas migration in the area, we now know that we know a little, to go a little bit deeper sidetrack, to have the tie-in with Mollin, which had very good gas production, is somewhere in between 600 to 1,000 meters to drill. So this is relatively cheap, not a deep well, and therefore to extend our oil discovery, very light oil, into the older, almost pure gas discovery is not a huge investment to us. And as I mentioned earlier, when you go from our current depth to around 2,000 meters, the original discovery with production proven was around 3,200 meters. So again, we have even a second, even deeper prospect, which is going to be most likely highly successful, very high chance of success geologically. I think the only remaining question mark will be what is the productivity going to be? But with limestones reservoir, that's worldwide a common, even for the largest fields of the planet, a common question you will have on the first sidetrack as well as we have. So quite positive, proven, and we don't have to go on the first one too deep. Currently, we think 600 meters to 1,000 meters.
Okay, I think that might cover off the second question that's come through. I'll just read it out for you anyway. You might be able to clarify it quickly. What is economically the more viable to follow up, the light oil pocket up dip via sidetrack, or is it the deeper gas reservoir, or can this be followed up via the same drilling attempt? Like you first go deeper gas, then test, plug, go back and do a sidetrack up dip oil.
Yeah, look, I'll take that one. With the existing well, actually deepening the well makes a lot more sense in terms of cost for the deeper gas and as well as risk. To go up dip 500 meters from the current depth, we really wouldn't get a lot of advantage out of the existing well. It's probably going to be more cost effective to go after the light oil play with another well. So our plan is to deepen Welchau 1 and then consider coming back with another well for the oil.
Okay, that's great. So just back to, how do you say HOCH? Is it HOCH? HOCH? HOCH.
HOCH or HOT?
HOCH. I've been listening to you say well. Yeah. I've been saying Welchau, and you've been saying well, something else.
Yeah. I guess it's slide 15 then, yeah.
Yes. What was the reason that after 3 days of drilling, as per our report, only 96 meters MD depth was achieved? Were there geological or technical issues? in this first drilling section. Where are we today in drilling depth?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll answer that. Look,
Ian, you
well,
can reply.
yeah. Look, obviously, yeah, we'll report on a weekly basis until we actually get to the objective. But what I can tell you is that we have had some lost circulation issues in the shallow section, and that did slow us down. So to cure those, you have to run basically cement plugs and then drill through those cement plugs. So yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. It's probably we lost a couple of days, but yeah, I mean it's nothing tragic.
Great. So the next question is a great one. So assuming gas production is successful, how should we think about ADX's near-term commercial positioning? For example, local Austrian sales versus broader international collaborations, and what are the key milestones and timelines for this process? How quick can we get gas to? How quick can we commercialize?
I mean,
Maybe
typically
you go
we're
to
looking at
slide
about
15. You
yeah,
show
but
slide 15. Okay.
yeah, but it doesn't really answer the question. So I mean, typically it's going to take us a year and a half to commercialize these gas projects. There are some of the prospects like gold, which is very close to another pipeline, which is about 200 or 300 meters. Hochfeld is further. It's about 1.2 kilometers. The biggest time is actually the planning and the permitting. But realistically, I mean, Europe is like a big tank now. You're so interconnected that you basically be selling that gas spot. And one of the big advantages that we do have is there's so much demand for gas. Europe, I mean, Austria used to be one of the main gas hubs of Europe. Gas used to come in through Ukraine, be stored in Austria, and then be distributed to about 5 different countries. Now the big problem is trying to figure out how to get gas into Austria. So we've had the big gas traders calling us and wanting to know what we're going to do with this gas, which really surprised us. We thought, this gas is too small to be interesting, but they said any gas coming out of Austria is interesting.
And just one last question for you, Ian. This is more on the corporate side. So is MCF Energy still partnering with us in the next drill? And if so, when will permitting for the well occur? And do you see drilling Welchau in the first quarter of 2027? And where are we at in terms of capital?
We are where we are with capital. We've raised enough money, obviously, to drill the Hochfeld well and then to be preparing for another 2 wells. We're also basically going to be moving forward with permitting for Welchau deepening. Now, Welchau last time took us about 9 months to permit. We think it'll be faster this time because we've gone through all the environmental studies that were required to be able to come up with a new drilling permit for deepening the well. Now, I can't speculate what MCF is doing. They've had, I mean, their activities, they've had activities in Germany which have not gone so well. So we don't really know if they've got the funds to contribute to Welchau. If they do, they do. If they don't, we'd be happy to go it alone because, as Paul said, there's not, it's a very large potential resource and it's only about 1 kilometre away. So it's about as cheap exploration as you're ever going to find, given you're already, 2/3 of the way there. And the other important thing is that we know a hell of a lot more about Welchau now than when we originally drilled it. So that's a much, much better prospect. I won't risk it because it's not something that I would do, but I'd say that the chance of success from here down on encountering those duplexes is much better than we had when we originally drilled the well. So we're very keen to drill with or without MCF.
Great.
I just want to make a comment on the previous question. look at this map. It's also shown in our ADX releases, because you asked about how quickly are we going to produce in HOCH-1, for example. Ian replied to this question, but look at this. We are only 1.5 kilometers on the current well, Hochfeld, away from an official pipeline, also from a production area. And that again substantiates our assumption that within a year we start producing and earning money.
Thank you. And can you tell us about the second listing, Ian? Can you
Yeah, look,
shed a bit more light?
we're working very hard on it. Ideally, we'd like to be able to list there before 30th of June. I mean, as you all know, the Europeans are pretty lazy, so we won't get a lot of action out of them in August. So if we don't make it by the 30th of June, then we'd be probably looking at probably a September timeframe. But yeah, we're getting all our ducks in a row for that.
Yeah, fantastic. And that's it. That's a wrap. Thank you very much, gentlemen. That was a great presentation. I have recorded it, so the replay will go out.
Hang on, Evie. We've got a few keen supporters in the room. See if they've got any questions.
Okay.
Did I say current inventory? Did you say current inventory was 1.5 million barrels?
Yes.
What sort of future current prices? What sort of future revenue, notwithstanding it's over many years, would that equate to?
Yeah, very, very. Look, if we look at, say, something. I mean, previously we're looking around 65. Now the forward curves around 75. So I think we'll probably get, and we're trying to get our production rate up. So say over the next 5 years, we'd be hoping that we'd be looking at kind of net revenue of around 3 million euros a year would be a reasonable assumption. Of course, a lot of that revenue goes into funding exploration, but it certainly helps us. Now, I mean, about 12 months ago, we were probably up around 300 barrels a day. We're now at around 210, but we should be able to get it back up to around 250 a day. So,
okay, that's it. Thank you very much. That's a wrap.
Thank you. Thanks, Paulo. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Evie. All the best.
Thanks to everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Arrivederci.